This next application is a really cool application. If you've never seen one of these machines, they're really, really neat. This is a stretch press. Okay, it's for making big sheet metal parts, usually to go on airplanes, but sometimes on boats and things like that. So you can see here, a huge machine, all right? It's a 75-ton hydraulic press, and in a second here, you'll see an animation. There's no noise on the animation, so I'm going to talk over it. The way this works is the material comes in, the jaws come together and grab the material, and then they start to stretch it. So you can see they move down, they move in a circular area, and then they put an additional three-dimensional curve into this piece of sheet metal. The operator stands outside the guarded area. And you see in this case, they got some railing around there to provide the guarding. So that piece of metal then probably goes on the fuselage of an airplane. So a very cool application, a very big machine. The draws pull out. So once they've grabbed the piece of sheet metal, they're okay, but until they grab it, huge pinch point, obviously, just like a press. There was some existing hard guarding around there, and there's constantly people moving in and out to make adjustments inside the work area. Different sizes of molds, different orientations, different sizes of ram, and these jaws can adjust from 3 up to as far as 15 feet, and the whole floor moves up and down. I mean, there's just hazards everywhere, all right? The real key is we have to ensure that people are out of the area before the press starts and to make sure that the process is not interrupted, all right? So really difficult to guard these large areas. Obviously, we could have put great big chain link fence around everything and, put in a series of guard locking doors to prevent anybody from going in while the process was working. But frankly, it wasn't a particularly good solution. It had visibility issues. It had maintenance issues where they need to get in and out of things. So the real key was to give them some sort of access and know whether or not anybody was in the facility before the machine started up. So in this case, we used 2 sets of PA 4600s and a G9SP in order to solve this problem. It's a pretty clever solution, and it basically, when someone walks into the hazard, the first light curtain detects them, and then the second light curtain detects them, so we can tell that if the light curtain is broken 1, 2, the person's on the way in, and then when they leave the facility, they break the light curtain 2, 1, which means that we see the person going out. So we count the number of people who go in, and then we wait to see how many people come out, and until the same number of people who come out equals the number of people who come in, we don't allow the machine to run. So we use logic in the G9SP with a couple of counters to count the people in and out of the work area to ensure that everybody is out of the work area before we allow the machine to run. If there are people inside, those jaws that grab onto the big piece of sheet metal will maintain their grip, but they can't move. So all the hazards are basically muted because there's no hazard when the jaws are tight on the metal. The only other hazards are the hazards from the moving parts. So if anyone walks through the light curtains, all the motion stops, but the jaws maintain their clench on the material. Everything stops right where it is. When everybody comes back out, they push the reset button, and then the material can continue to be bent. So even though there might be a situation where we actually stop the bend, it stops in right where it is. It maintains that location, and we can complete the fabrication of the part. Here you can see the G9SP in the control cabinet. And the reason that we won, because we were able to do all the things the customer needed, an excellent relationship with the customer, and a very creative teamwork between distributor, integrator who installed all this stuff, including the hard guarding and the railing, and of course us providing them with the product, and a very clever approach to a very difficult problem.